Entering our second season of Blood Time, we want to thank not only our phenomenal and remarkable individuals that were our guests, but also the support, the incredible support that we have had throughout the community, not only locally, but nationally. What you can absolutely put to bed as guaranteed the second season of Blood Time are more remarkable individuals, more transformative stories, and more Blood Time moments. Please give a listen to the second season, for we are all blood. Coach Cimarroni here. Love to all. I want to thank Serve Pro of Beechwood, our newest sponsor, and Jack Coslin, the owner. They serve all of Northeast Ohio, not just Beechwood. They specialize in disaster cleanup that leaves your home or office like new, like it never happened. Flood and water damage, fire, mold, and they say even blood and guts. Not just any Serve Pro. Seek out Serve Pro of Beechwood. That's Serve Pro Beechwood, Shaker Heights, ClevelandHeights.com, 216-464-4498. Operated by a former All-State wrestler from Beechwood. We love Serve Pro of Beechwood. In studio today, I have the brainchild, the wrestling factory, Mike Kulczycki, the man who created this fantastic opportunity for so many young men and women to continue in the sport and to thrive in the sport. Mike, welcome.
How you doing? Thanks for having me, Coach.
Good to see you. Good to see you. My pleasure having you in here. So, Mike, tell me a little bit about, we want to start off, obviously, Blood Time likes to start off and give you the foundation of what made Mike Kulczycki gravitate towards the sport of wrestling, and then who built that foundation? Who are those people that built those foundations around you that created who you are?
Right. For me, I guess it's, usually you have a father or an uncle or grandfather that got into wrestling, and nobody in my family wrestled.
That's very strange.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It really is. That's interesting.
Yep. And first grade, I went out for intramural basketball and wrestling, and I liked watching, WWF wrestling on TV, and that drew me towards the wrestling mat. Okay. And first grade, it just took off. Basketball wasn't my sport. Wrestling was.
All right.
And actually, I started wrestling before my older brother got into it.
Oh, okay. So
I was in first grade, and he probably started wrestling in fourth grade, but I was actually before him.
What grade school?
St. Albert the Great.
Oh, that's a feeder.
Yeah, Yeah, we had great coaches. Jack Leone, Sr., Jack Leone, Jr., Phil Matillo.
Yeah.
They were awesome coaches, definitely.
And very committed.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
CYO program.
Yes. Sadly gone.
Yes.
Yep. So as you're saying, first, second, third, fourth grade, you've looked at this stuff and what's happening.
My parents are always supportive, great parents.
Okay.
Did
they play any sports?
Not. My mom didn't. My dad might have played JV football in high school, but
Gotcha.
My dad at a young age had to work.
Sure.
Didn't have a whole lot of money growing up, so he was working, at 9, 10 years old. So that's one thing they always taught me is hard work and, just getting after it.
Right.
So, that's kind of how it got. And I got right into wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I fell in love with the sport from the get-go. I took it pretty serious.
Sure.
And, it just kind of came on that way, And then my brother got in the sport with us, and my parents would take me to practices, tournaments. They drive us. Our vacations became wrestling tournaments,
Sure, yeah.
So I felt bad for my older sister and my brother that, were coming on these vacations / wrestling trips, to make it cheaper. And
not much. Well, they figured it out. Right?
Yeah, they did.
They had to have fun somehow, some way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we went all over the country for wrestling, and
that's cool.
My dad never told me, what to do or, do this or do that in practice. They never came to practice. They dropped me off.
Right.
They supported me.
Old school parents.
Yeah, it was great.
My dad was, although he came to the games, he wrestled a bit for Shaker. He never, there was no way he's going into practice, right, back in the day.
Yeah, my parents went to every wrestling event I had, from youth to high school to college.
Sure.
But they sat in the stands. My mom would tell me, go to your destiny. Good luck.
Yes.
They never ever once, critiqued me or criticized me or said you should do this. They just said they love me and go after it. So, I couldn't ask for a better situation.
That's really, we're missing some of that today. Yes. We get such critiques
from the parents that think they know more than the coaches, and it's it's really aggravating, don't you think?
It is. And because I had my parents like they were supportive. I don't understand these parents that are on their kids about.
Right.
And a lot of these parents didn't do anything. They want the best for their kid, and I get.
Well, they're living virtually through the kid.
Yes. And they want the best. They think they're doing the best thing, but at the same time, I think they're going to burn the kid out. And then they're going to separate the coach from the student. Yeah. If I'm trying to teach or coach a kid, and his parents are yelling at him, telling him to do this way differently, I'm going to take a step back from that kid.
Yeah, I think it's destructive, just not only in our sport, but in our society. You have these helicopter parents, you have these snowplow parents that just want no bumps for these kids, and especially in our sport. It's ridiculous. It's the bumpiest sport you get, right?
No doubt, yeah.
But more importantly, I remember when I took over Beechwood the second time in 2014, it was highly toxic. And pretty much it was out of basically two families that created this toxicity.
It doesn't take much, right?
It did not, and they were obviously, great wrestlers and stuff, but the parents were mediocre wrestlers and at best, and I knew those guys, and they know who they are, and it was such a disservice not only to the sport but to the kids and the kids that were also surrounding it. And before you knew it, we were down to 6 kids, K through 12. I had to completely detoxify that organization and basically put rules in place saying you parents are going to shut up. Yeah. Okay? I'm the coach. You don't like it? Yep. Try to get me fired, but you're not going to get me fired. You know what I mean? So I feel you, man. So you've created this whole culture now with the wrestling factory, right? And we're trying to, we're doing the same thing here with Blood Time. We're creating a culture of excellence, of transformative behavior, of remarkable individuals. So tell me what, generated this thought of the wrestling factory. But before I get in there, you had a pretty good high school career. Let's talk about that. I mean, you went to St. Ed's, the premier program in the state of Ohio and one of the top in the country of all time.
I went to St. Ed's.
Sure.
4-time state place winner.
Yes, you were.
Won state title twice. Awesome. Third as a sophomore, or second as a sophomore. And then my team, our class 98, we were crowned national champs that year. We beat Blair Academy, Easton, Phillipsburg, all
just
the Pennsylvania schools.
Teams, right?
But we got our butt kicked. Our junior year, we went out to Blair, and they destroyed us. A couple other Pennsylvania teams beat on us pretty good.
Gotcha.
And that was a low point in my high school career, was that coming back from that trip. And then I remember talking to the guys. That was 97, saying we don't want that to happen again. Right. We came back the following year. We beat Blair Friday night in their own gym. Wow. I think ESPNU or ESPN2 was there. It was pretty cool.
Yes.
And then we went the next day and wrestled in a quad out in Easton against some Pennsylvania schools, and we handled them pretty well.
Yeah, Easton is loaded. That's the home of Larry Holmes, former heavyweight champion.
Right.
Got a good buddy of mine, Ricky Solovsky, who's one of the top referees. He's got a radio show out there, and that's a hotbed.
Yeah,
that's a hotbed. So you recommitted after that 97 ass whooping, right? And you said, that's not going to happen again. We're going to go and kick some butt, but we're going to do it the St. Ed's way.
Right.
Tell me about that. What's the St. Ed's way?
I think we got great coaches. Obviously Howard Ferguson. I met the guy one time at a camp. Just briefly said hi to him. But then Coach Urbis was my coach, and John Heffernan, and
Hef was something.
Hef was
awesome. He still is.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
And he's been running that program, the practices, for the last 20 years.
Right.
Maybe even longer than that. Obviously Urbis is the head figure, or was the head figure, and you can't replace him, and you can't replace John Heffernan. And he kind of taught us that Iowa style, grinding style, in your face wrestling. Yeah. No matter what you do, you hustle and effort and get after it.
You always win an OT. No matter what.
Exactly. And the great thing about St. Ed's was we got a lot of good partners. We had kids from all over coming in, and the practice room was pretty competitive. You go up a weight or down a weight, you're going to have a stud. Yeah. And I think, after years after practicing with these guys, you're ready to go for competition. I think some high schools might lack that because they don't have the partners that we have. Right. And we had a lot of good coaches, that came back and trained with us.
That was my next question, Mike. Who was that assistant coach that bonded with you? Who was that guy?
I'd say John Heffernan.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, he was young. He just came, I think he was coaching for a couple years by the time I got in. But, he was Iowa style wrestling. When I was growing up, I wanted to go to Iowa. Loved the Terry Brands, Tom Brands, just that whole mentality. So
you built the same size as pretty much Terry and
Tom,
right?
And so I worshiped those guys. Wrestled with those guys. He wrestled under Gable. So most of my high school career, that's where I wanted to go to college, was Iowa. So I was all centered in around John Heffernan. Man, the list goes on. Jeff Leonard was a great coach.
Yes.
He was really, great for the guys. And,
so enthusiastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And the list goes on with coaches, I was just thinking about that on the way here. There's a lot of guys that, no longer coach there, but were there for a couple years. And
what was that?
Great room.
What, Mike, was there some word, some conversation that you had with a coach that just said, man, this really made a difference?
That's a tough one.
Is it?
I know from a young age, my youth coaches, Phil Matillo and Jack Liani Sr., they were awesome. They were the great coaches. They were tough on us. But at the same time, they would say, all right, you're pretty good, but, there's some other good wrestlers out there.
Sure.
He'd always keep us in check.
Sure.
And Mr. Liani did that in a subtle way.
Kept you humble.
Kept me humble.
Yeah.
I won 4 CYO city titles, which is a pretty big deal at the time.
Yeah.
But he kept me in check. He'd take us to Longwood Y practices, North Akron Y practices, and we'd get some competition out there.
Sure.
And so I always wanted to please him, and he let me know that, he thought I was doing a good job, but he always said there's another guy out there. And it's true. There's always somebody out there that's going to beat you. And it happened. And I got beat a bunch of times,
Sure.
and just that philosophy and keeping us humble. I try to carry on today to the kids I coach and
that's
stuff
fantastic.
Like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's paying it forward, man.
Yep.
And that's that ripple effect. That people I keep telling that, I keep saying that in all these interviews. Good and bad does not happen in a vacuum.
Right.
They ripple, and you better do good.
Yeah, exactly.
And tell good stuff, and preach good stuff.
Definitely.
So you're in that wrestling room at St. Ed's. It's just a monster room, and I've had the honor of wrestling in that room back in the 80s when I was assistant coach. As a matter of fact, I did a round robin with Jim Heffernan and John Zingales and all those cats back.
That's a great group.
Yeah, 32, 30, 38 pounders.
Wow.
So tell me, who was your toughest drill partner?
I was so lucky. I had Gray Maynard.
Oh, my goodness.
We drilled a lot, especially our senior year. We were drilling. Ryan Bertine.
Was a great two-time NCAA champion. Come on. And I think I refereed a CYO match that he won back in the day. Where did he go to?
He went to University of Michigan.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I mean, what was his CYO?
St. Albert's. He wrestled.
That's what I thought. Yeah, exactly. That's crazy.
Yeah, our CYO program was loaded. We had a lot of great kids.
Bertine, my God, was he tough.
He was a stud. Yeah. Yoshi Nakamura, who's a year older than me.
Yes, I just talked to Yoshi. He's a terrific guy. What a quality individual.
And he was fun to wrestle because if you made a mistake, he'd throw you on your head.
Yeah, exactly. With that judo stuff.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was Nick Nemeth would turn into Dolph Ziggler.
Yes.
Andy Rovat was bigger than me, but we still rolled around a little bit.
Okay.
Mike Tolar. So that class just it goes on and on. We had a great group of kids.
Incredible all-star.
Yep.
Well, Greg was talking about all the, the four-timers. What you have? You have 4 four-timers or 8 something like that, and 14 3-timer. I mean, just some crazy numbers of. It's just an insane, and that names that you just listed off would be, an incredible all-star.
Yeah.
Let alone just in 1 or 2 years, right? You know what I mean? For all time teams, you know. So, well, that is amazing, and we're gonna take a quick break and come back and talk a little bit about the Wrestling Factory. Okay. Thanks,
excellent.
Mike.
Yep. Thank you.
Defense Soap at defensesoap.com. In the midst of our current health crisis, we at Blood Time want to thank Guy and Gus Seiko and the team at Defense Soap as a beacon of our protection. Body wipes, skin cleansers, bars of soap, shower gels, and disinfectant tablets. All this and more as Defense Soap is on the front line of our protection. Thanks to the Seiko family and their team at Defense Soap. Check them out for all your protection needs during these precarious times. Defense Soap at defensesoap.com.
And we're back with Mike Kulczycki from the Wrestling Factory, Blood Time, Coach Cimarroni here. Mike, talk to me about what was the kernel, the thought, the inspiration for creating the Wrestling Factory, which is doing so fantastic today.
I was assistant coach at the University of Michigan for 8 years.
Just a terrible university.
Yeah, I know people in Ohio aren't too fond of them.
No, it's a quality university.
But it is a great school.
Yeah, quality. Dominic Abinator.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Oh, yeah. Sure. Brian Bertine.
Sure.
Andy Rovat.
Yep.
So we had Mark Mose. We had a pipeline going there.
Was Chiarella there when you were there?
Yeah. Well, Mark Sr.'s the father.
Oh,
Mark Jr.'s my year.
Sure.
And then there's Ryan and Josh Chiarella. They were a couple years younger than me.
Ryan was a stud. Right?
Yeah. Ryan and Josh both were 3-time champs and runner-up finishes their senior year.
Yeah, so you're at the University of Michigan. You're an 8-year coach.
Yeah,
and that all of a sudden maybe the Wrestling Factory comes.
Yeah, and then I would go recruiting. I'd recruit some of the top kids in the country, and we go out to Chicago where Sean Bormet was running the Overtime Wrestling Club.
Who's the current
head coach at Michigan, and went to a couple other places. New Jersey had a pretty good club out there. That was before all this club scene was going. And I always thought, when we were coaching at Michigan, we get a lot of the top-notch kids. Right. We just kind of fine-tune them. I thought it would be great to first work for myself, run my own business, but be able to start coaching kids from a young age, and kind of mold them into a wrestler or a person they are today.
Sure.
College coaches are great. It was a great job. I loved it. Mm-hmm. But like I said, we just fine-tuned kids. We didn't get to work with their fundamentals. And we did that stuff, but I thought a real good coach like Jack Liani, Phil Mattillo, is a coach that could take somebody from, the novice level and guide them up to, high school and elite level.
Just take this beautiful piece of clay and make some beautiful statue, right? Yeah, of humanity.
So that's what kind of got me thinking about, doing my own club. And then I moved back to Cleveland and I started the Wrestling Factory.
When did you start it?
The fall of 2011.
2011. Yeah, and I've seen you, actually a couple of practices at Lake Catholic.
Yep.
When I was coaching, when I was head coach at Beechwood. You ran a fantastic practice. It was just like clockwork.
Thanks.
And you also addressed the kids in a humanistic way, and making them understand what they're doing and why they're doing it and what it's going to take them to the next level. I really like that philosophy. That's terrific. So you've got this Wrestling Factory, and with what we're currently in with this turbulent times of this virus and this health crisis, we don't know what we're facing in the sport of wrestling as a high school or middle school or public school or even private school situation because of the government having their say. The clubs can still do it.
Right.
So tell me what's going on with you guys. How are you holding practice? What's going on with you?
We're having practice 3 days a week. We have like a 6th grade and under novice practice, and then we have a junior high school practice.
Sure.
We're going by all the protocols. We're taking temperatures before kids get in.
Sure.
We're keeping parents out of the building, which is a blessing.
Yes.
And we're trying to keep kids in a group of 2 or 4. Okay. And they kind of stay on this certain part of the mat where they're at, and those are their partners for the day.
Gotcha.
We're sending out, they got to, sign the waiver forms, and if they have any, signs or symptoms, they got to let us know or not come to practice.
Right.
So we're trying to stay in communication with the parents and the kids, and just, we're cleaning the facilities, 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
We heard a company coming in.
We're in that sport anyhow.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on. We know more of that than any sport.
Sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. Thank you, Defense Soap.
Yeah, exactly.
Guy and Gus Seiko.
Definitely been buying a lot of their product lately, and it's a great product.
Absolutely.
For sure.
We love those guys.
Yep.
They've been on before. So you've got that going on. But Mike, tell me what do you see in the future? I mean, I think clubs have taken over a lot of different sports. Are they going to take over our sport?
It could very well be. I'm not familiar with soccer clubs, but I think that's what it is. Most of the top
hockey,
hockey's
doing a lot of that.
They're in their own clubs, and if OHSA comes in and puts a stop on this season,
right?
People might just go to club wrestling.
Yes. Yes.
At all different levels, even at the university levels. You got the RTCs already started up, so we might be a club sport from beginners all the way to senior level. It could possibly happen.
Sure.
It might be great for the sport. I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to say. I definitely would like a season for the high school kids and college kids.
Yes.
But this could be, changing of the sport a little bit.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, I just don't see. I see change in education.
Yeah. True.
I see.
No question.
My girlfriend, fantastic human being. She's a 2nd grade teacher, and she's doing it Zoom. Yeah. Oh, my God.
That's got to be
tough. It's horrible. It's so stressful on the teacher, let alone the parents and the kids.
Yeah.
It's bad enough to try to teach 2nd graders, let alone in person, let alone via Zoom. And, you know, and kids need socialization.
No doubt about it.
You know, they need to be, you know, with people, and learn how to become a human being, basically, right? Same thing in athletics. I mean, we need that practice.
Exactly.
You know, I was jonesing for getting in front of my kids.
No question.
Just to see them and, hey, how you doing, dude? And high five, and you can't even high five them. You got to elbow them.
I think my coaching philosophy has been changing during this time because,
okay,
you know, obviously you train these kids to be the best wrestlers, best people they could be, you know, but I'm working with beginners, novices, you know, and these kids, their time coming to the factory and an outlet, you know, and so I've kind of taken a step back and you know, if someone's goofing off in practice, instead of getting on them, you know, this might be his only way to get out and get away from home and get around other kids. And, you know, if they want to goof off, you know, maybe I'll let them goof off a little bit, you know, but
give a little bit more latitude.
Yes, because who knows what's going on at home.
Sure.
They could have a bad home life, you know. They might not have a mom or dad, you know. And so I've been stepping back, thinking about it a little bit, and kind of opened my eyes to just coaching and just trying to create it to be a fun atmosphere, especially for the young kids. I want them to
you have more responsibility now. You have to take it no matter what. You know, we don't. Maybe we don't want that, but it doesn't matter, dude. We got to take that responsibility, and I always took that very seriously, no matter what. I knew that sometimes I was the only father figure, and I took it very seriously. And I tell the kids, the very first day, I said, my actual legal definition is locus parentis. That means local parent. You guys are all my sons. Right now, I'm also going to hold you to that standard too, right? But I love you, no matter what. I'm not doing this because of the dough, right? You know what I mean? Now, I know that you have a business, but I know there has to be love there too.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So tell me a little bit about that philosophy. What's the Wrestling Factory philosophy? Once I come in there and I let's say I don't have a son of that age. My son's 32 years old, 30, you know. But if I take a son to Mike Kulczycki's Wrestling Factory, what's the philosophy that I can expect?
You know, first, and I guess it changes a little bit depending on the age of the kid.
Sure.
But first and foremost, the kids are coming in, especially the young kids. We want to keep them coming back because wrestling's a tough sport.
Sure.
You know, we got to keep kids in the sport. Okay. So they got to have fun. We do a lot of wrestling, basic games, specific games that they can have fun, kind of keep it lighthearted. You know, we do a lot of tumbling, things like that. Okay. For the kids that are getting a little bit older, more experienced kids, we want to be, you know, an extra coach there for them. You know, we don't want to be their high school coach. You know, they have high school coaches. We're just there to, like, supplement their coaching. To add
validate it.
Yes, to validate it, add what they have. Okay. Luckily, I got the wrestler, you know, at the college level, Division I. I got the coach at Division I, so I know what college coaches are looking for. So if I could add that to kids, you know, their resume, so to speak, and help them out, you know, guide them, take them to national tournaments.
That's fantastic.
Maybe their coach in summertime can't do as much, you know. Everyone's basic full-time jobs. That is my job. I'm a full-time coach, and I want to be there for them.
Excellent. So you have the actual facility, okay, and you have, you know, the practices and all that. Do you do any personal one-on-ones?
We do a lot of personal private lessons. Yep.
Okay,
definitely.
Cool. Yeah. Now, do you do that in the facility, or do you go to other areas?
We mainly do it at the factory. Okay. I've gone to people's houses. I've worked with some different high schools and run a practice at high school. I've done that. Yes. But right now, you know, mainly most kids come to me. Gotcha. But, you know, I'm willing to go anywhere else too.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Mike, we need guys like you.
Thank you.
Particularly in this scenario.
Right.
We need leadership. We need strength. We need courage. Mm-hmm. You know, this is a difficult time, and you know, I tell the guys, because I'm doing, all we're doing right now is just conditioning.
Right.
I can't even get them to basically shadow, you know, pretty much. But I told them, I said, act as if. Mm-hmm. That's the way I am.
Right.
I am definitely intending to have a wrestling season this year. Yep. And if we do, I want you in the room once or twice this year to teach a practice, and also to bring this philosophy in. And I want you to continue to do great things in the sport, Mike, because we need guys like you.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Leave us with one or two things that can impress not only your students, but also the audience at large. And maybe some, I know that Greg Urbis said two things, and they were from Howard Ferguson.
Yeah.
You know, but he said, hey, use the sport. Right. Don't let the sport use you, and never give up on a kid.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that one, Coach Urbis one. You know, and I'm glad I was listening to that interview, and I remember him saying to us all the time, and it's true, you can't give up on a kid. Yeah. Especially I'm dealing with even younger kids than high school kids.
Sure.
That's all. Some of these kids don't have a whole lot going on. You don't know what their home life is like. So if they could come to practice, laugh, and have a good time, and I could crack jokes at them, and that means a lot. So yeah, I like the fact, don't ever give up on a kid. That's so true.
I love that.
I like hustle and effort.
Okay.
I feel, it doesn't matter. I tell my kids, it doesn't matter how long you've been wrestling. You've been wrestling one day, you've been wrestling 10 years. It's all about hustle and effort.
Yes.
You give that, you give me 100% hustle and effort, it's going to make up for experience. And I think it's an important thing to go by. Every time you're out there, hustle and effort.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's the Wrestling Factory motto. I like that
sure.
a lot. I like that a lot. Well, also, too, the point, that I think the most important point out of this entire interview is about you are a facility to help people that maybe have bad home lives, maybe have no father figure, maybe have no outlet.
Right.
And so you're even more important today in this crisis than ever before. So, Mike, please continue to do great stuff.
Thanks, Coach.
We are Blood. This is Coach Cimarroni with Mike Kulczycki from the Wrestling Factory. Love to all. Men, are you looking for that great suit or sports outfit made out of the finest fabrics and made to measure tailoring? J&A Custom Clothing, Tailoring, and Alteration will come to your home or office and give you that fashion statement that you will be known for. Call J&A Custom Clothing and the owner, Joseph Alberstadt, at 216-513-6165. That's J&A Custom Clothing. 216-513-6165.
I want to share my thought of the day with you. Burden, privilege, fact, myth, or construct, no matter, for the elegance lives in the positive solution. Inevitably and ultimately, it is up to you and I.
Hi, this is Lee Kemp. You've just heard an episode of Blood Time. Check out all the episodes at maverickpodcasting.com.